Once again, guys, thank you so much. It's good to see familiar names. A lot of you have been in contact with us at New World Immigration over the last couple of weeks to last couple of months. It's a real pleasure to see everyone join us this evening. Thank you so much for taking the time out. Welcome to our October New World Immigration webinar. We're very excited to host and showcase this event for many of you, of course, all of you, in fact. There's been some exciting news across the world with borders now finally starting to reopen over the next couple of weeks. So there's really an exciting moment for us in immigration, as well as clients that are starting this exciting journey as families. So really looking forward to the incredible news. Australia is opening up from the 1st of November. Canada is starting to open up and start easing, restrictions and whatnot, which is fantastic. It's really great to see. It's been an interesting 18 months for us all, and I'm sure it's been quite interesting for a lot of you out there. So I'm glad to see that you've made it through, the strongest bunch. All right, so guys, again, thank you so much. I'm going to start on the webinar. So a few interesting and fun facts about the two countries that we predominantly focus on. Some really interesting information, some information that I didn't know myself. So for an example, I mean, if you had to visit one beach in Australia every day, it would take you over 27 years to see them all. Quite an interesting one, that. For all you farmers out there,
great life to live.
Yeah, absolutely. For all you farmers out there, there are 3 times more sheep than people. So that's going to be good for business. Right. So guys, again, thank you so much for taking the time out of your evening, and of course spending a lot of time and conversing with each and every one of the consultants at New World Immigration. Amy, Jamal, Leo, Mark, Matthew, Robbie, myself included. We've had phenomenal conversations with each and every one of you. And it's been a real pleasure to get to the point of knowing that we've gone through the qualifying criteria, establishing that your professions are in high demand in each and every one of these countries. It's a real pleasure to know that your profession is in high demand in one of these countries, because you know that, for not to make it sound cheesy, but you are like solid gold to these countries, so you're really able to add a lot of benefits, and you're a massive asset to these countries. So just a heads up as we go through this webinar, if you'd like to pop a message over to either of your consultants, of course, each and every one of you might have either had them on WhatsApp or via email. Pop them a message. If you've got a question, please feel free, and they'll be able to assist you at that point, or even after this webinar. Right, so tonight's journey is going to include a number of different aspects around the process, New World Immigration as a whole, the features and benefits as to what New World Immigration has to offer each and every one of the families that we bring on board. And then, of course, covering areas such as the portal, professions that are in high demand in both countries, and taking a look at our newly launched recruitment division. Very excited about that. Covering the importance of the beginning part of the immigration journey. And then, of course, meeting our Canadian as well as our Australian team. So one of the most important facts when it comes to immigration is that whomever you're working with, one would need to make sure that should you start this very exciting but daunting process for each and every one of you, whoever's holding your hand or dealing with your documents, as well as dealing directly with the respective country that you are looking to immigrate to, it's vital that whomever you're using is registered in the respective country. So We've just, and this is available on all the information that we've sent you via emails. It's available on our website. All of our registrations from Canada, Australia, and the United States. We've also had the pleasure of employing former senior case officers that have previously worked for various governments. So instead of being registered, we also have real insight as to what takes place behind the scenes from an immigration point of view. So it's really phenomenal knowing that we've got that how do I say
backing.
Yeah,
it's a good word.
So just from an immigration process, and of course starting the process with us, initially leaving an inquiry with us, as each and every one of you have, and then of course the process is a phase-by-phase process that of course we go through. So leaving an inquiry on our website, you then get in contact with one of our consultants like Mark, Amy, myself, etc. And once you've gone through a thorough assessment and we've established that you qualify for the respective country, whether it may be Canada, Australia, etc., we would then proceed by quoting the family, wanting to, of course, understand the process, understand the costs involved, which each and every one of you have received. From that point, as you are shown there by the arrow, we are at this point in time, right there. And from the next phase is, of course, getting on board, assigning you over to a dedicated case manager, including your initial consultant that you've spoken with. And ultimately, a team of individuals will be assigned to your profile to, of course, assist you with the documentation requirements, which is the next step, which is receive documents, the list, and of course, uploading exactly what we'll need, provide documentation, provide us with things like your CV, qualification certificates, and whatnot. And once we've satisfied that particular area, we would then submit the application for processing. And of course, the very final step and part of the process is then receiving your approval of residency to either Canada or Australia. Right, so it's always a pleasure seeing the faces behind the names of the individuals who happen to be actually project managing and processing visa applications. So for those of you that are heading to Canada, you've got Carleen on the top left-hand side of your screen. And to the right of her, you've got Fazia Hassan, who's our registered agent. And then, of course, our entire Canadian department, who would be assisting each and every one of our families to facilitate the process from beginning to end. Those of you that are immigrating to Australia, you've got Jonathan Pretorius, who's our head of our Australian department. Sandra Karim, to the right of him, she is our registered agent. And then, of course, the rest of our Australian department. I'd like to also say a massive well done to Regina. She received an approval for permanent residency today. It took just over, I think, it took about 25 months to process it, even during COVID. That is, wow, that is really incredible. I hope your husband's taking you out for dinner tonight, Regina.
I think it's worthwhile to mention that was an extremely challenging case. And, it again talks to the need to use companies that have the knowledge, with regards to processing these applications, because there were a lot of hurdles. And Regina did a very, very good job in jumping them.
Absolutely. No, 100%. I couldn't agree more. And I was actually quite rude. I didn't even introduce myself, nor Robbie Raglis, who's the co-host of this webinar. So Robbie Raglis, owner and founder of New World Immigration, has joined us for this webinar. Thank you so much for joining us, Robbie.
Cool. Thanks, Sean.
It's a pleasure having you.
Great introduction. I was wondering when you were going to introduce us.
Get straight to it.
I'm keen. Let's go.
So a major focal point for New World Immigration when processing documents, as daunting as it always sounds, I'm going to another country, I'm dealing with serious documentation, very important information, you know, from myself all the way to your kids and your wife or your husband, etc. We need to create a space that is not only going to be user-friendly, but extremely safe for all documentation, all communication, and whatnot. So a number of years ago, we came up with a concept of having a one-stop shop where clients are able to log on, upload documentation requirements to this portal, which you receive a username and password. In fact, each and every one of you had received a username and password at some point when communicating, should I say, with your consultant. And that has already allowed you to log onto your portal and, of course, get a general idea as to how we project manage your visa throughout the process. So I'm going to show you a couple of screens from here and forward as to what the portal involves. So once you've logged on, by the way, this is a dummy account. So once you've logged on, your first page would be your client profile, which you'd be able to upload a picture of yourself. And then, of course, you've got access to all members of the team. So at any given point in time, you'll have 4 members assigned to your profile, of course, having your case management team project manage this process. You'd also be able to track the process live 24/7 from where you are, as long as you got access to the internet. It's an exceptional tool, you know, so whether you're using it via smartphone, mobile, laptop, desktop, or via tablet, this portal is accessible. Now, on the left-hand side, you've got a couple of tabs here, which I'm going to go through a few important ones. But you'd be able to access all the important tabs from the left-hand side of your portal, and you'd also be able to monitor how many documents are still outstanding throughout the process. Right, so one of the most important parts of the portal, and it was quite interesting to see the developer really come up with this, because it was such a clever concept where instead of sending emails and emails and emails, and you know, we all know how that goes with laptops, either, I don't know, getting stolen or broken, or, you know, Outlook crashes and you lose all that important information. You need to start from fresh, or, you know, try and retrieve all those documents. Again, we've created this one space where you're able to log on, upload important documents. And then, of course, as you'll see here, you'd be able to click on the respective document. It will drop down. And you're then able to get an example of the document that we're referring to, as well as you're able to download a template or an example of that document. You'd also be able to have a WhatsApp chat. It's very much like WhatsApp, but it happens directly through the portal. So all communication and comms that happen between you and your case manager, not only taking place by Zoom or telephone, it can take place via the portal. Add a comment, as well as upload your document via your desktop or your smartphone, and your case manager receives instant notification of the comment or the documents uploaded. Now, once we've satisfied that area, it will actually turn from a peachish color to a green color, and we're satisfied with that, and we're able to move over to the next document.
Sean, we've actually just introduced a feature on this portal that automatically reminds our clients of any outstanding documents. So basically all the peach colors, you know, there will be a collection of those documents and sent in an email to the client, just keeping a reminder, you know, on what's outstanding, which I think is important, because sometimes these processes can take a while. People are very busy, and you need to be reminded to submit ultimately what we need to process your application effectively.
Absolutely. And like you said, you know, every single one of the individuals that are starting this process, you know, they're professionals, they're either business owners, very much career orientated. And a reminder now and again is, well, I mean, it's extremely important. And also to put a bit of fire under people is also great. So another great feature of our portal, ladies and gentlemen, would be our relocations department. So over the years, we noticed that there were frequently asked questions around Okay, Sean, so I understand that you guys are going to be able to assist and facilitate the visa. We understand that we're going to be focusing on our qualifications. So all the paperwork and whatnot, and you guys are going to be able to get my family over there. But what about when we get there? What happens then? How do I have property? How do I know where to look? How do I get my tax affairs in order or financials in order, such as foreign exchange? If we've got, two Labradors and a cat that I'd like to take over to either Canada or Australia, how can I get that done? Who do I contact? The portal has a tab called Manage My Relocation, where it would cover all aspects relating to that. So at any point in time during your journey with us, would you be able to click on here and it will take you directly to our partners that facilitate each and every one of these services. Another important feature that we have via the portal is a calendar. So as Robbie said, another reminder as we get updates, or you as a family or client get an update, we also set important calendar events, whether it may be your English language test or whether it may be a practical that would need to take place for a plumber or an electrician, whether it may be a medical examination that would take place toward the final part of the whatever the case might be, right? Or maybe, should I say, we'd be able to save this information via the portal and everyone's kept on the same page as to what that event is and when it takes place. You'll also be able to set reminders for yourself a month, 2 weeks, a week, or a day in advance. So New World Immigration partnered with a company or website, should I say, PayScale. It's a phenomenal tool that's been available for a number of years, but we decided to take it a step further and partner with them, where it gives us, well, not us per se, it gives you as clients up-to-date information on what earning potentials do you have in the country that you're looking at going to. So as easy as putting in your job title within that area into the country, if you know of the particular city that you're looking to go to, qualifications, work experience, etc. And once you've clicked submit, on the right-hand side of the page here, it will actually give you a full breakdown of annual set salaries on average, bonuses, base salary, profit sharing, total pay. So, when two partners are going over or a single applicant, it will really give you a good understanding as to what you could potentially earn that side and see the benefits of these first world salaries. Another good conversation that I have with clients on a regular basis is that what do I need to prepare for in advance before I land in that country? Right? Do I need to prepare for certain clothing? Do I need to change my complete wardrobe when I'm going to Canada, or my complete wardrobe when I'm going to Australia? Whatever the case might be, right? Any topic from healthcare to roads to driver's licenses, etc., etc. All of your topics over and above a lot of the general discussions we have will be available on the portal by clicking on country information, and you'd be able to download a PDF attachment explaining that country in a lot more detail than what we might have touched on a few of the areas during our consultation. So you'd be able to download both Australia and Canada, as well as the United States. They're relatively large documents, so it's good information to have, through your journey.
It's nice that these those ebooks were drafted for prospective migrants. So it's actually designed for people that are entering that country. It's not just an explanation of the country. It's designed and catered for people entering from abroad.
So we're going to take a look at a few occupations that are in high demand. We weren't able to cover absolutely every single occupation out there, but I can assure you that as soon as that you're here, you've been quoted, and of course you've been assessed by your consultant. Your profession has been established that it is in high demand. But this is mere an example of what these countries have from a graph point of view. So occupations in demand for skilled migrants in Canada as well as Australia. You'll take a look at the engineering sector, architects, IT, among other occupations or fields are very much in demand. I'd just like to touch on a topic before we continue with the next graph, or graph should I say, is that a lot of individuals ask, why do they need me? Why do they need me as an engineer to go over to Australia? Why are they looking for legal professionals in Canada? If you read either on the net or information that your consultant will also provide you with, the problem that these countries have is that the economies are growing way too fast in comparison to the growth of their own population. For an example, Canada, a large portion of Canada's population is going into retirement, and the same with Australia. And with retirements happening on such a large point and not enough individuals filling those positions that are now becoming vacant, Australia and Canada has had to turn their views and their eyes towards skilled migrants to come in and benefit and fill those positions. That is why your profession is in high demand, and this is why you qualify to a country like Canada or Australia. So some interesting figures here, really interesting figures. So this is average salaries in rands. If you compare both Canada as well, or compare Canada to South Africa in terms of annual salaries, as you'll see there, for an example, just based on engineering professionals, per annum on average, just over 1.2 million rand. In Canada, where in South Africa, it's just shy of 600,000. So just based on that, as you'll be able to see that the figures are 100% justifiable as to why so many foreigners are choosing to live and work abroad. So from engineering professionals,
sorry, Sean. Also the healthcare benefits as well as the social benefits. Also free schooling for children as a permanent resident. There's cost savings there as well.
Yeah, major costs. I mean, I think each and every one of you as a family can sit down and calculate what you might spend not only a month, but annually on what schooling and medical aid might cost you guys, right? You look at the average cost of what immigration costs over that period of time, you'd be able to make that money back in a very short period of time if you're saving on healthcare and schooling, that's for sure. So as we had in the previous spread, taking a look at salaries between Australia and South Africa. So from registered nurses, school teachers, all the way to your artisans, construction project managers. A major point that I'd also like to focus on, because I know a lot of teachers have joined us this evening, is that teachers, I'm actually dating a teacher myself. She's a teacher here in Bloberg at Bloberg International. And, as teachers, it's not an occupation you go into to earn a large salary. It's a very passionate occupation. So a lot of teachers, or all teachers, don't necessarily go into that industry to become the next millionaire, right? Although who doesn't want to be, but it's not the main point. The difference that the point I'm trying to make here is that in comparison to what the average teacher gets paid per annum in South Africa, and compare that to Australia, not only because the currency is a lot stronger, but Australia looks after teachers a lot more financially overall because of what you do, right? There's major foresight and future reference as to what teachers are doing right now and how that will benefit the economy in 15 to 20 years time from now. So these are really great figures to look at. I mean, from construction managers to professionals in Australia, over 1.4 million rand. And it's in South Africa, it's just shy of 350. So, I mean, very interesting figures to look at here. So, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to also touch on the recruitment division, our very exciting recruitment division that has recently been launched. We've started partnering with companies based in both Canada as well as Australia. We've partnered with recruitment divisions to ultimately assist our clients during this journey to understand the job markets and really navigate the job markets throughout the process. And I'd like to just shed some light on this particular division that we started developing.
I think a lot of our clients over the years, naturally job security is a huge concern for people and a huge focal point. It was a no-brainer that we opened up this division to add that extra value to our clients that were pursuing permanent residency applications. This is a complimentary service. It's something that gets plugged in at the right time during your journey. And Sean will explain a little bit more about how it all works.
Yeah, no, timing is key, especially when getting into the job markets. As I always say to clients, either them going through the process or initially starting the process, gone are the days where you put together a CV and simply send out that CV to 40 or 50 companies out there and hoping something sticks. What you have in that package of information is extremely vital, which I'll discuss with everyone shortly. But of course, the purpose of this division was to create a purpose of assisting clients in obtaining job offers abroad. We're connecting, like I said, with employers as well as recruitment agents abroad. And of course, once you've become a client of New World Immigration, would you have access to this particular division after a certain part of the process?
Sean, I wanted to hang here because I believe that this is incredibly important. So, I mean, we've been in immigration for a long time, and so have the rest of the team. I mean, what we hear consistently from people that are embarking on this process for the first time, or they don't know necessarily how the industry works, is that, and I'm sure a lot of people sitting here listening to this would agree, if they've attempted it, is that employers are acting differently nowadays. You need to be what we like to call job ready to be considered for a position abroad. And it's just this constant knocking of heads that we hear over the phone daily of people that have expressed their anger in, I've applied for 500 positions abroad and no one's considering me. The reality of the situation is that will continue, if not get worse. So if you are in a position where you are just sending your CV to companies abroad and expecting a positive response, you're living in the 1990s, because that's what it was like back then. You could apply, they could apply for a work permit within a week, you could go the next week. It was all very straightforward and simple, very flexible, malleable, etc. Things are tighter now. There's a lot of restrictions in place, and you need to present yourself in the best possible light. And when we plug in this recruitment service to your permanent residency application process, we will make sure that you are what we like to call job ready. And that involves things like your skills assessment being done, your English language test being done, your CV being redone, and a whole range of other things. Sean, do you want to maybe add a few things there?
No, look, I couldn't agree more. Our recruiter, Carl, who heads up that particular department, our recruitment division, he got an email during the course of the week with a company based in Brisbane that is looking for, I think it was 30 or 40 welders. Yeah. And we would get a brief or specs of what the candidates would need, whether it may be work experience, they would need their red seals, of course, health checks and all of that. They would need to be healthy and, no criminal background or anything like that. But a part of that document that we received under NB, very important, clients or applicants or candidates needs to have their skills assessment complete. That skills assessment is one of the most important documents you would do for yourself as not only a favor, but the employer and the recruitment process in general and getting into that country, because it showcases the fact that you're serious about it, and the skills assessment shows that you're on par with that country's standards, and it just makes the process a lot easier for all parties involved throughout this process.
Also, from a compliance point of view, if you're in a professional trade, you need to get your skills assessed for very, very good reasons. For example, if you're a diesel mechanic or if you're a welder, these are high intensity jobs. There's a lot of health risks to it. A lot of things can go wrong. And they want to make sure that you have gone through the necessary steps to get that Australian or that Canadian accreditation so that they can be happy to offer you a visa and allow you entry into the country.
100%. And once the skills assessment has been complete, like Robbie had mentioned earlier on, is that we then start plugging in this particular aspect of New World. And this is a sneak peek into our recruitment portal, which would also be plugged in to the portal that I've shown everyone earlier on. So there's two pathways, and I'm going to touch on this very briefly, but basically employers and employees alike have access to this portal. So employers are able to log on, take a look at our database of applicants, they take a look at the accountants, engineers, et cetera, and really sift through and find the perfect candidates that they're looking for. So it makes the employer's life a lot easier. And then it also it allows the employee to expose their profile through a different portal or program like Indeed or whatever the case might be.
I mean, we started this recruitment division on the 1st of July, and Kyle, who's unfortunately not able to be with us tonight, he heads it up. And we've just opened up Pandora's box in terms of what's out there, in terms of it further talks to the greater need for highly skilled occupations, that's for certain, but we could actually see it in the form of employers requesting, we need 30 welders, we need carpenters, we need nurses, medical practitioners. We've just done a deal with a recruitment agency in Australia. They're looking for healthcare professionals. And every day we're doing new deals. And it's an extremely exciting value-added service that we're going to provide to our clients. Really excited about it.
So just an example, once you go onto this part of the portal, you'd be able to take a look at web development positions, welding, diesel motor mechanic, accounting, machine operator, etc. And by clicking on that, it will actually give you a breakdown of available opportunities that we've, of course, partnered with companies that side, either in Canada or Australia. And of course, it makes the search a lot easier.
So what we do is when you become a client of New World Immigration and you come on board for your permanent residency process, and you complete stage 1, which is your skills assessment, which we'll be talking about a lot, as you've already heard. Once you complete your skills assessment, we consider you job ready at that point. We'll plug you into this portal and expose you internationally to employers that require your services. So that's just another, it happens at that point after you complete your skills assessment.
100%. And of course, once completed the skill assessment, you'd be able to fill in all the fields, name, surname, country, qualifications, age, skills assessments, etc. And that then allows your profile to then be active and navigate the job markets through our recruitment division. Coming soon. So this is also a really interesting concept that Carl and the team at New World has also done. I know a lot of the families that have joined on LinkedIn. We're very much active on LinkedIn. Guys, please do yourselves a favor. If you're not on LinkedIn, find yourselves on LinkedIn as quick as possible. Go and like and follow New World Immigration and each and every one of us. We provide a lot of content, good information. And it's just a great platform to be on overall. But the point I'm trying to get to is that, as you'll see, what Carl has done is that he'll actively promote the industries that we're focusing on every single day, right? So from construction managers or construction professionals to legal professionals, talent is available at New World Immigration. Our clients have completed their skills assessments. They've got their visas. This is the talent. These are the professionals we have. Get in touch with us. We'd be able to connect you with the right people, or the right candidates, should I say. Right. So we kept referring to the first phase, taking a look at the skills assessment. I'm sure a lot of you have an idea as to what the skills assessment is. But to give you a bit of an insight on what that really is that, as you'll see a couple of those bullet points, what it really is that we get your CV, we get your qualification certificates, and we compile a package of documents that's then sent over from our head office to the respective countries that we're looking at. Depending on the occupation and depending on the country, it would generally take about 90 days. And in return, that the qualification itself and the certificate that you receive it's a skills assessment certificate that now confirms that Ricky Nordier's Red Seal is on par with Australian qualification framework. Priyanka's degree in accounting is on par with Canadian qualification standards. That is a vital document to then have when putting your CV forward to employers. Hi, I'm applying from South Africa. I've got X amount of years of working experience with PwC, etc. But my qualification is also, although I got it from Stellenbosch, or whether I got it from WITS or UJ or Pretoria, wherever, it is actually recognized in your country. Here's evidence of that. There's so much power behind that than simply just sending over a CV with foreign qualifications that have not yet been assessed. It also does a couple of things. This is that it showcases commitments on your end. Believe it or not, I've heard this a lot of times with recruiters and employers in Australia, is that a lot of the times they're reluctant on going through a work permit process with candidates because they would need to go through a lot of red tape. They would need to advertise the position. They would need to pay the various government or the government department to employ you as a foreigner. It's a tedious process that this company needs to go through. And that can take about 4 months. And over that 4-month time frame, candidates unfortunately get cold feet. And a company has gone through all of that legwork, all those financials, and they've now lost all that money, and now they've lost that client, or not that client, but that potential employee. The skills assessment showcases the fact that you've done your due diligence with a registered migration agency that will not only back you with a work permit or residency, but you've done your skills assessment. It is also a mandatory requirement for permanent residency to both Canada as well as Australia. So that is why, as that is the end result or the end goal, we start with the skills assessment first. Right, so heading towards the end of our webinar this evening, again, I'd like to say thank you so much to everyone that has joined us, and thank you so much for everyone that has helped myself and Robbie and the team to put this webinar together. We've put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into it. It's been a really, really interesting topic of discussion. And my next recommendation to each and every one of you families out there that is joining us this evening is get in contact with your consultants, Amy, Jamal, Leo, Mark, Matthew, Robbie, or myself. Get in contact with us either via WhatsApp tonight or via email tomorrow. Let's establish a suitable time to start with the skills assessment. There's a massive reason as to why we're hosting this event toward the end of October, is that a lot of borders are going to be opening up soon. And what happens every single year, and what will happen even more in the beginning of 2022, there's going to be a huge amount of people applying at the same time. And as I'm sure each and every one of you know, is that when a lot of documents get stacked on your desk, it's going to take you a lot longer to process all those documents. It's the same thing with Home Affairs in Australia. It's the same thing with CIC in Canada. When they deal with a lot of applications, the inevitable happens is that it's backlogged. What we want to avoid from happening is just that. Starting the skills assessment sooner rather than later. You're not committing to a country. We're not expecting you to get onto a flight, pack your bags, and leave immediately. We're wanting to start this journey with you guys before the herds and masses, should I say, start this process in the next 2 to 3 months' time. So again, my recommendation is to get in contact with your consultant and find out what your next steps are from there. And we really look forward to bringing you on board and starting this journey with you guys. Rob, is there a final note that you'd like to add?
Sean, I think you've covered everything. I think you've explained everything quite clearly. So I've got nothing on my side. I just want to convey a thanks to everyone that joined tonight. We had a record turnout. I think we hit 150 qualified applicants, which is phenomenal. So yeah, thanks for taking out the time away from your families and your kids and spending the time with us tonight.
Thank you so much. Guntle, I see that you had a couple of questions. You put your hand up. I'm going to recommend that I'm sure each and every one of you have questions relating to any of the topics or discussions that we touched on. As I mentioned in the beginning of the webinar, please get in contact with your consultant either via WhatsApp or via email. Oh, and by the way, if you don't have your consultant's WhatsApp number, just take a look at any of the emails that they might have sent you. Google Leo, it'll come up, Mark, whomever, it'll come up, and in their signature, their contact number will be available there. Click on that, it'll take you directly to their WhatsApp page and communicate.